This is a very quick walk around video on a horribly windy day for a Honda Accord 2-litre EX automatic. This car's literally just turned 70,000 miles, finished in black with a full black leather interior, and very well looked after. Front of the car is very clean, lights and lenses you can see there completely clear, intact. Bonnet itself very clean, hardly a stone chip with any brake note on there. I'm having to do this one a bit quicker. It's about to start to rain in a second, so I'll dash around this one a little bit, I'm afraid, but it is a very clean car. Again, so it's been kept very nicely. Driver side, off side of the car, again very smooth on the panel work there. Being black and 10 years old, there are obviously going to be some sort of light marks around the car, but there's nothing that particularly jumps out into it. So very nice car indeed. Coming to the boot area now, big boots on the Accords, you can drop the seats down using the handles there, but it's been kept very nicely as well. It's in beautiful condition. Coming inside the car, in beautiful condition in here. Leatherwork's been kept absolutely fantastically well. Mats, so the carpets rather inside the car look pretty much as new all round. It's been kept, as I said, very gentle hand owning this car. And coming to the driver's side, all covered, all absolutely beautiful. And again, you can see the carpet areas, wonderful condition, as is the driver's seat, which obviously just the sort of this leatherwork gets squished down a little bit as you get it in and out the car, which is quite normal. So sat inside the car now, engine's running through this section. You can see sat nav working absolutely perfectly. I've put the car into reverse. Got that lovely clear colour parking camera, but this is in fabulous condition. Come back here hopefully. You can see dashboard there. Only warning light currently showing is obviously just for the fuel on the car. Obviously fuel put in it, we'll extinguish that straight away. But it really is fabulous in here, really. The video just does not do justice to the car at all. Just to quickly show you, owner's manual pack, lock and wheel nut key, both here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda Accord, and it's a 2-litre EX automatic. This particular car is registered EX09VPU, and mileage at the start of the road test is 70,671 miles. The reason we do these videos is basically so that anyone that's looking at the car online in an advert actually gets to see that very car in operation. We know that people travel vast distances to come and see our cars, and we think it's right that if there's any issues on the car that would manifest themselves while test driving the vehicle, you should be told about them, because it can be quite frustrating, as we know to our cost, to find that isn't the case. This particular car has been wonderfully well looked after, really has. I'll just go through the major mechanical bits as I always do, one by one. Engine, great place to start on a Honda, of course. World's best engine builder in my very humble opinion. Starts absolutely instantly. There's no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other parts of the car, apart from just a low fuel light currently on the vehicle. Temperature gauge I'll let you know in a minute, because I always try and start these cars from cold when doing the road tests, but as we're coming around the dashboard I'll point that out in a second. The engines are just fantastic, very smooth, very quiet as you'd expect from a Honda car, wonderfully reliable. I mean, in the real world of motoring, which I always think is kind of 5 years and onwards when they're out of manufacturer's warranty, you know, how good is an engine then? And these have a reputation which exceeds anything in its class by a long way. But it's just a lovely engine to use day in, day out. Very flexible, matches the car really nicely. The fuel economy is amazing on these as well, actually. I drove back quite a long way in the car, sat on the motorway at 70 miles an hour, and it is well above 40 miles per gallon during that period. Shorter trips obviously sort of worsen fuel economy, as we all know, but it's actually very fuel efficient for the type of car it is. Engines then feed through into the gearbox of the car. Typical Honda automatic, very smooth shifting gearbox. Again, as with the engines, the reputation of the gearboxes they are very, very tough indeed. I apologise, the sun's very low today, so it is going to be a bit glary. It's just rained and it's shining on the road, so I really apologise, but I've got to get through as many of these road test videos as I possibly can today. So I'll do my level best. I apologise for that. But the gearbox, all the gear changes, slick, smooth. You should still do the basic checks on them. Just make sure that when you select drive and reverse from stationary, there's no delays or thunks in engagement, and they should have positive slick gear changes on the move, and it's perfect in that respect. Steering on the car, which has always been one of the strong points of the Honda Accord, this is no different. It's for a generation of car that uses electric power steering. It's very good indeed, because personally I'm not a great fan of electric power steering cars, but Honda have gone to a lot of effort to give this a lovely weighting, and it's just beautifully slick and precise and accurate in the way the steering operates. It's wonderful to use, whether you're just cruising or whether you're pushing on. It's just a brilliant system. Also feels lovely and tight and taut on the road. Tracks dead straight. There's no vibrations going back to the wheel at this speed, or any speed up to the legal limits that I've experienced. But yeah, a great power steering system. Suspension of the car, beautifully judged. As I've said many times, I think this is a really sweet spot for the Honda design. They managed to give it a very comfortable, compliant, but very well damped ride. It's not one of those cars where like the BMW in front, they drive beautifully, but they can be very harsh on certain surfaces. This manages to ride those well. It's firmer, but it's not uncomfortable. But it manages to flow through the corners absolutely brilliantly at any speed. It doesn't get floaty like some cars do at higher speeds. Just a class act. What I'm also looking for on road test, by the way, is any kind of knocking noises coming from underneath the car that shouldn't be there on road test, where it gets sort of where it resonates rather. And there's nothing. It feels very tight and solid underneath the vehicle. Brakes on the car, just going to come to this junction, just give it a bit of a slam on the brakes, or not too hard, because I know they're good, but give it a good old shove. But there's a really good brake pedal on the car. There's no pulsing or vibrations going back through the brake pedal at all. So I'm swinging around here because there's some traffic lights up there, and it's going to be a bit boring just sat stationary. But brakes are fine. As I said, no pulsing, no vibrations, and it pulls it up nice and straight and true. Looking around inside the car, I mean, as I say many times on the Hondas, the videos don't do justice to the build quality of these things. I mean, we are looking at a 10-year-old car, no squeaks, no rattles, no buzz trims, beautifully made car, and a lovely interior. It's aged brilliantly well, because it still feels modern, but also it's very easy to come to terms with, to operate, and of very high quality as well, by the way. All the switches have a lovely, positive, well-damped actuation to them. Sat-nav, you can see they're working perfectly. It's a big screen, recessed right back, so no nasty glares in the sunshine. A lot of the texturing of the plastics up high is soft touch, which is really nicely done, but you do feel like you are in a very high-quality car sat in here. Air conditioning works perfectly, and it's dual zone, different temperatures side to side on the car. Dashboard in front, your typical Honda dashboard, simple, legible, perfect. It's just, you look at it, you get the information, and that's all you want. Temperature gauge, now we've been running, it's up to full operating temperature, running at a third, which is exactly where it should be on the temperature gauge on a Honda car, whether it be petrol or diesel, doesn't make any difference at all. But everything works in here, works absolutely perfectly. You know, we go through these things and check them, and it's absolutely spot on. But a fabulous car, and you can see why they're so popular second-hand. There's not many of them, and that's really good for the second-hand buyer because they hold their value very well indeed. But for someone looking for a very high-quality automatic that's going to be reliable but also drive nicely, there's very few cars out there actually that kind of tick all those boxes. And this one is just a particularly nice example of that particular type of car. As always though, if you've got any questions about the car, please don't hesitate, do give us a call.